Most people aren't overweight because they lack discipline. They're stuck because nobody's ever explained to them how the body actually uses food. By the end of this video, you'll understand the simple biology that I explain to my clients to help them lose fat, boost their energy, and maintain muscle, all without extreme diets or even going to the gym. And I'm gonna do that by walking you through what I call the 3-bucket framework. You've probably heard somebody say you need to eat less and move more, right? But that's not the problem. The real issue for most people is that you might be eating the right foods, just in the wrong ratios or in the wrong sequence at the wrong times, because nobody's walked you through exactly how the body uses protein, fat, carbs, and fiber. And as I said, I've walked tons of stressed out executives, overwhelmed parents, and frustrated retirees through this framework. And at the end, most of them ask, why has nobody explained this to me before? So here's what we're about to cover. First, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 energy buckets that run your metabolism. And then after you have that backdrop, I'll walk you through the real job of proteins, fats, and carbs. Then I'm gonna walk you through why fiber matters and why the processing of fiber changes everything. And last but not least, at the end of the video, I'm gonna walk you through a very simple action plan that I recommend for almost all of my clients that'll help you shift from fat storage mode to fat burning mode and stay there. This is the exact action plan that I find consistently helps clients lose weight and elevate their energy. So if you're somebody that's watching this and you're frustrated with extra weight or energy fluctuations, maybe you consistently crash in the afternoon, this framework is gonna help you make sense of it. Okay, before I walk you through the 3 energy buckets, a little bit of context around the 3 core macronutrients. First, protein is a building block. So when you consume protein, your body uses it to build stuff. Fat is a building block and a fuel source. So your body can use it for either. And then carbohydrates are just a fuel source. Don't feel like you have to memorize this. We're gonna come back to this point a couple of times because it matters a lot. And here's where most of my clients have their first light bulb moment. Okay, so these are the 3 energy buckets of your body. I'm gonna give you a high-level overview and then we're gonna go through each of them. Bucket number 1 is your immediate energy needs, energy you're using right away. Bucket number 2 is your short-term energy storage. This is your liver and muscle glycogen. I'll explain that later. Bucket number 3 is your long-term energy storage. This is your body fat, and it's basically an unlimited bucket. Now, when it comes to bucket number 1, your immediate energy needs, this is the energy that you need just to stay alive. So when you're thinking, you're breathing, you're moving around, energy is allocated to this bucket first. But I wanna make a point that's especially important. Your body can use either carbohydrates or fat for bucket number 1, but it prioritizes carbohydrates. So if you eat carbohydrates and fat together, your body is going to prioritize the carbohydrates in that meal for your immediate energy needs. Now, if you're doing something like low carb, the fat will be used, but otherwise you eat the carbs and the fat gets stored as long-term energy, the carbs are used first. Now, bucket number 2 is your short-term storage. And as I said, this is your liver and your muscle glycogen. But this bucket can only hold roughly 24 to 48 hours worth of energy, and it's purely stored as carbohydrates. So when you eat carbs, first they're allocated to bucket number 1, your immediate energy needs, and then leftovers are allocated to bucket number 2. If you're active, you're gonna burn through this bucket faster. If you're sitting for most of the day, you're gonna burn through it slower. That's why there's a range between 24 and 48 hours worth of energy. And, important note, if you have more muscle, the bucket's going to be bigger. Remember, this is liver and muscle glycogen. In other words, it's carbohydrates that you store in your liver or your muscle. So more muscle means more carb storage. This is also why when it comes to weight loss, strength training is often a more effective strategy than cardio because you're activating and emptying bucket number 2. You're growing the bucket and you're emptying it regularly. So your muscle just eats up carbs in your diet. Now here's where things really click for people. Bucket number 3 is your long-term energy storage, and this is just your body fat. As I said before, it's basically unlimited. And when bucket number 1 and bucket number 2 are full, everything else goes into bucket number 3. Think of it like a waterfall. Energy is sent to bucket number 1, then bucket number 2, then bucket number 3. Now let's go back to the macros for a second so you can see exactly why this matters. But before we do, if you like simple frameworks like this that help you improve your health on your own terms, subscribe to the channel because we have many more of them coming. And if you want an even more comprehensive and digestible resource to help you optimize your health and longevity, you can check out my best-selling book, The Longevity Lifestyle, available on Amazon, and I linked it down below. It's loaded with habits, frameworks, protocols, mental models, graphics, implementation guidance, and anybody who buys the book also gets 3 awesome bonuses. Okay, back to the 3 energy buckets, and I want to revisit the macronutrients to help emphasize how this all fits together. As a quick recap, proteins are a building block, fats are a building block and a fuel source, carbs are just a fuel source. And because carbohydrates are only a fuel source, they have the biggest impact on these energy buckets. So when you overeat carbohydrates and maybe you're not exercising as much, bucket number 1 and bucket number 2 are always staying full. And so anything excess is getting stored in bucket number 3. This is how you get stuck in fat storage mode. Now, because fats are fuel source and building blocks, some of them are going to be used to build cell membranes, which is especially important for organs like your brain, which is primarily fat. But fats as a fuel source are also more energy dense than carbohydrates. Meaning, if you were to allocate 1 carbohydrate and 1 fat to producing energy, your body's going to convert that fat into way more energy than the carbohydrate. But the problem is you're using the carbohydrates first. And so if the fat is excess, this is going to contribute to weight gain. So carbs and fat in combination are one of the main mechanisms that lead to weight gain. And I explain this principle in one of the chapters of my book, but the key takeaway for you is to try and avoid this combination in high quantities. There's a reason in nature you can't find high quantities of fats and simple carbs. This is the same combination that food manufacturers use to hijack your brain. Because when you take a bite of a potato chip or a candy bar that's high in fat and sugar, it tells your brain this is the most incredible energy food we've ever discovered. So on one hand, when you eat these foods, your brain then tells your body, we want more of this. It's actually addictive because your brain sees this as the greatest survival food it's ever come across. On the other hand, this food tells your body, because it is so energy dense, high in carbs and high in fat, store some of this for later. So high carbs and high fat together keep energy bucket number 1 and energy bucket number 2 completely full, and then anything excess goes into energy bucket number 3. Now stick with me here. I'm going to simplify all of this in just a moment. But first, protein. Protein is only a building block, and you don't have any storage for it. The only way that your body stores protein is as amino acids in your muscle tissue. Which is why if you chronically undereat protein, you're going to lose muscle because your body is going to go find the amino acids in your muscle tissue and then use them. Now, I'll get back to this in a moment, but first I want to explain how fiber fits into the equation, and then I'm going to walk you through the exact action plan that you need to stay in fat burning mode around the clock. So fiber is another form of carbohydrates, but the difference is it's a chain of carbohydrates. So instead of giving your body 1 carbohydrate or a sugar molecule, it's a chain of sugars or carbohydrates. So when you eat that, it acts as a mesh that layers in your stomach, and it slows the absorption of other nutrients. Now, the slowed absorption may sound like a bad thing, but it's actually a really good thing because it allows your body to absorb more micronutrients, and it slows the absorption of other carbohydrates. So when it comes to the energy buckets, it's going to slow that waterfall from bucket 1 to bucket 2 to bucket 3. The problem is the fiber from whole unprocessed foods is a complete fiber. The fiber added back into processed foods by food manufacturers is incomplete. So basically, the fiber in processed food, like if you go get a granola bar and it says it's high in fiber, 90% of the time, that's junk fiber that's not actually doing anything to slow the absorption of carbohydrates. So you get the same spike in carbohydrates, the same spike and crash in energy, and the same overflowing waterfall through your energy buckets. In simple terms, fiber is like a dam that slows down the water from bucket 1 to bucket 2 to bucket 3. Fake fiber does nothing and ultimately leaves you stuck in fat storage mode. Carbs without fiber leads to a faster waterfall. So if you're following closely here, you may be thinking to yourself, okay, so my main goal when it comes to losing weight is to reverse this waterfall. You've probably heard the advice, just stop eating so much sugar. But while that's partially true, it's not just sugar. It's the sequence, it's the timing, it's the combination, and it's the context for how much energy you already have in each of these energy buckets. Even healthy carbs and healthy fats that you eat can become extra body fat if bucket number 1 and bucket number 2 are already full. And in my experience, without intending to, a lot of people overeat carbohydrates. They're just eating more than they're actually burning. And it's usually not their fault because food manufacturers will put sugar, fat, salt, and fake fiber in everything. So now I'm gonna walk you through exactly what you need to do to reverse this waterfall and stay in fat burning mode. This is the action plan you've been looking for, and there are 6 steps to it. Step number 1 is to shrink your eating window. I usually recommend clients aim to eat all of their meals within a 6 to 8 hour window. And this is the highest leverage change for 70 to 80% of people. It works because what you're doing by restricting when you eat foods, you're allowing energy bucket number 2 and energy bucket number 1 to run low. Meaning you're flipping that waterfall so that energy bucket number 3 is gonna have to start pouring into bucket 2 and bucket number 1. In other words, fat burning mode. Now, step number 2 is to exercise before you break your fast. And this doesn't mean you need to go to the gym for an hour. You don't need to go to the gym at all. This just means you need to move a little bit. Because what you're doing by exercising fasted, even if it's a 10 to 15 minute walk, you're creating more demand for energy bucket number 1. But now, energy bucket number 1 is on the bottom. So by creating demand there, you're pulling from bucket 2, which will pull from bucket 3. In simple terms, you have reversed the waterfall. And you're creating more demand so that that water starts flowing faster. Instead of filling these energy buckets, now you're emptying them. Now, step number 3 is to prioritize 30 to 40 grams of protein in your first meal. Right out the gate, when you break your fast with protein, you're doing 2 things. First, you're gonna slow how quickly you fill energy bucket number 2. Remember, that can only be filled with carbohydrates. So if you're breaking your fast with oatmeal or granola or even yogurt that's healthy with added sugar in it, you are rapidly filling bucket number 1 and bucket number 2, and you're gonna go right back into fat storage mode. The second thing that breaking your fast with protein does is it protects your muscle tissue and it prevents crashes in the afternoon. Because protein is just a building block, you're not gonna significantly change the flow of the waterfall. If you're trying to heal your metabolism, in my book, the perfect first meal is 30 to 40 grams of complete protein to protect your muscles and help your hormonal health, some healthy fats to give you stable energy, you're not reversing that waterfall, and then some fermented foods to nourish your gut. This combo is gonna keep you full, focused, and balanced throughout the rest of the day. Step number 4 is to be extremely careful with carbs. If you just noticed, that first meal I recommended, very low or no carbs. Now, I'm not telling you need to fear carbs. What I'm telling you is you don't want to change the flow of those energy buckets if you're trying to lose weight. Save your carbohydrates for when you've moved, you've lifted some weights, your energy bucket number 2 is empty, or at the end of your fast. Carbs for most people tend to make you a little bit sluggish. So to have them with dinner is a perfect timing before you go to sleep. And I want to remind you, when you eat carbs that are high in fiber, you're slowing down that waterfall. Sometimes you don't even reverse the flow of water because your body doesn't absorb a significant amount of carbohydrates. Ultimately, you're going to slow down how quickly that energy is used for bucket 1 and bucket 2. And when you slow that down, you keep the waterfall in the reverse direction. Step number 5 is to choose the right fats. Mother Nature doesn't really make unhealthy fats. So if you're getting your fat content from olives or olive oil or avocados or pasture-raised eggs or grass-fed beef or fish, even whole nuts and whole seeds, those are good bets for healthy fat content. On the other hand, the man-made, ultra-processed industrial seed and vegetable oils, stay away from them at all costs. They provide your body with super high concentrations of omega-6 fatty acids. They throw off your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. That then leads to inflammation and higher cortisol and fat storage. I cover this in depth in another video, and you can check that out here. Now, step number 6 is to avoid 2 things that clog up your metabolism. The first thing to be aware of is alcohol, because it slows your metabolism. So you want to be really mindful of what you drink, when you drink, and what you eat when you drink. My recommendation is to stick to alcohols like tequila, whiskey, vodka, and keep it on the rocks or with a little bit of soda water. You could even go with red or white wine. I won't go into this in depth, but I do have another video on that topic here if you're interested. The second thing is to try and avoid sugar spikes. Because simple sugars are absorbed so quickly, they completely overwhelm those energy buckets. Even something like fruit juice that has added sugar in it has the power to reverse that waterfall and put you in fat storage mode almost immediately. So if you want to keep this energy bucket system flowing smoothly and in the right direction where you're burning fat, just be really mindful of alcohol and simple sugar. Now I'm going to leave you with one super underrated tip. But before I do, I've watched clients over and over again use this framework to help them lose more fat, keep more consistent energy, improve their mood, their focus, their strength, their muscle tone, even reverse chronic diseases like high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes. So don't underestimate how powerful it is when you finally align your eating habits with the way that your body uses energy. And the last tip that I want to leave you with is to be incredibly aware of your surroundings. Your environment determines the severity of your setbacks. In other words, if you have cookies in your pantry, they're 1,000 times more tempting than the cookies that are still in the grocery store. And if you're hanging out with friends or family that's always wanting to stop by McDonald's or bringing sodas home, you're more likely to eat that type of food. So just be really smart with who and what you're surrounded by, because that is going to determine the choices you make, especially when your willpower and discipline is at your lowest. Nobody has motivation all day, every day. It's your systems that'll make or break you. I hope this video was helpful. Please subscribe to the channel if you found this valuable and want more like it. Good luck, and I'll see you on the next one.